Okay, so guys, let me share with you the book. One, sure. I think you can see my book now. Yes. Let me just reduce a little bit. Yep. Increase that here. Oh, I see new names now. Welcome everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
So today we are starting the item 70 of our book. If you do have any question, any comment, if you would like to share an experience or doubt, please do not hesitate. On an Imperial French Navy ship stationed at seas around China, the entire crew, from the seaman to the captain, entertained themselves with talking tables. They decided to evoke the spirit of a lieutenant of the same vessel who had died 2 years previously. He responded, and after several communications that surprised everybody, he used raps to say the following: I beg of you to pay the captain the sum of the indicated amount, which I owe him, and which I regret not having been able to pay before I die. Nobody had even known about it. The captain himself had forgotten about the debt, which was quite small, by the way. However, upon checking his financial records, he found no entry of lieutenant debt in the exact amount indicated. Now we must ask, whose thought could have possibly been reflected in this instance? From time to time, when we start to have queries, when we start to be in doubt about the existence of the spiritual world, sometimes they do things like that. In that particular case, how would it be possible to the person that died to communicate exactly this same amount through the table if was not him, if no one else other than him and the person he was owing the money would know? Sometimes there is a name, there is a particular event in our lives, and they come. And we become very surprised, because how would you know that? How, well, I'm thinking about a medium, right? But how would that table know that? It's even more complicated, right? So we need to understand that there are things we do not know, but it doesn't mean that they do not exist, right? And as I said, from time to time, we face some situations like the one described on this item. Hi, Pablo.
Hi. What I wanted to make a comment on is, because I told you last week that I'm reading a table about, or a book about the events of the turning tables, and how they were, all Europe was amazed of what was happening at the same time. But at the same time, in the beginning, it was like a hobby. People would get together for a night, and they would do that as something to be amused of. So I understand how quickly, or the spirits that were coordinating this movement had to change the focus of that for it not to be in vain.
Yes, yes. But I'm thinking here, Pablo, we want to attract someone's attention. We need to find a way to attract someone's attention, right? The millennials, the younger generations, they are attracted by what? TikTok, Instagram, things like that. So at that time, possibly the best way to attract anyone's attention was that sort of gathering that they used to have on the happy hour, if you like, right? And that was the best way they could find to get people attention, because those events we always had since we are here on Earth. Not tables turning, but we had mediumship events, communications, poltergeist, you name it. We had that from day one, and we did not pay enough attention. So they had to figure out what to do to get their attention, and they did, right? So at that time, that was a must to get people's attention. Today, we don't need that anymore. There are other means to get people attention. There are other perceptions that we have that we didn't have at that time. So, yep. This art of communicating by alphabetical system of raps was eventually perfected, but it was always very cumbersome. Nevertheless, some lengthy communications, as well as a few interesting revelations about the world of spirits, were obtained. This method gave rise to others, and hence the arrival of written communication. Something came to my mind here is that history shows us there is an evolution in the way things happen. There is a process. There was a table turning, raps. Later on, you see the use of baskets. Later on, a few other things. And we benefit from this progress. Today, I'm not very sure if the Spiritist community would be open to another step. We have examples that make me think that we didn't learn with Kardec as we should. Because Kardec was willing to progress. Kardec was willing to evolve the method that was used for communications, and he accepted with open heart. Nowadays, I'm not really sure if we would. Anyway, this method gave rise to others, and hence the arrival of written communication. The first communication of this type were obtained using a miniature table to which a pencil was fitted and then placed upon a sheet of paper. Under the medium's influence, this tiny table began to trace out a few letters and then begins to write words and sentences. The process was gradually simplified by even using smaller tables that were specially made to fit the hand, followed by tiny baskets, cardboards, boxes, and finally, simple planchettes. You see, the history shows us how things evolved. I think it would be very pretentious for me to assume that that's it. Nothing else will happen. In the next millennia, nothing will change. I think we need to be open. The writing was fluent, rapid, and easy, as if done by hand. But it was realized later that all these objects only served as extensions of the hand itself. Simple pencil holders which could be dispensed with. In fact, the medium's own hand alone, impelled involuntarily, could write under the influence of a spirit without the concurrence of either the medium's thought or will. Let me just make some comments here. At that time, we had more mechanical mediums. Basically, it was like a switch. They switch off the medium, they would write a book, for example, and the medium would not have any knowledge of what was written, nor that he was writing anything. There was like a switch. A mechanical medium is like that. You switch off the medium, he does everything the spirit is taking care of, and he does not interfere with the communication. Hi, Ebony. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. On the evolution of spirit communication, the means through which we are able to communicate with them through writing, do you think it's possible that we can have psychography through the computer, typing on the computer instead of using pencils and pen? Do you know of known cases? I mean, it's much more efficient to me, especially if you can speed type. The amount of information that you can get written down rather through pen and paper. Do you know of any cases where we've evolved or mediums have evolved to use the computer to communicate with spirits in that way through psychography?
Yes, it happens already. There are mediums.
Great.
Yeah, it happens already. There are mediums that instead of write by hand, they use computer. We know some of them. So, because there's no difference. There's no difference. We create laws in our mind that we think, no, that's it. It's cast in stone, will never change. It's not possible, it's not right. We create so many boundaries about what we want or what we believe, and that's it. But the reality is different. It's beyond our control. The mechanism of write by a pencil or type in a computer is exactly the same. It's exactly the same. And it's well known there are some mediums working like that already. So, surprise, surprise. Yep, good. From then on, communication from beyond the grave presented no more difficulty than everyday correspondence among the living. Let me just throw here a spoiler alert, right? There are communications through electronic devices already. So there are more to come if we allow that to happen. There's way more to come if we allow that to happen. We shall return to these different means later in order to explain them in more detail. But we have given a quick outline here in order to show the string of the events that led to the realization that the phenomena entailed the involvement of invisible intelligences, that is, spirits. Let me just speak about the spirits a little bit. We accept very well that we are behind in evolution, in technology, in capacity to use our environment than the spiritual world. I.e., they are more modern, they have better technology than we do. If they have better technology than we do, when they come to us proposing, giving us the intuition, creating possibilities to also evolve from our side Why should we say no? Do I believe in what I preach or not? Because if I believe what I'm saying, that they are more modern than we are, why do I don't want to use something new to make my life easier? Something like 50 years ago or so, Francisco Xavier, a Brazilian medium, he clearly said that one day we would be able to see the spiritual world like we watch a TV. It happens already, not in large scale, but it happens already. EVP, electronic voice phenomena, white noise, it happens already. But we decide that this is not spirited, this is not real, this is impossible. Prove me otherwise. Likewise, virtual mediumship meetings is wrong, is not possible, blah, blah, blah. Prove me otherwise, prove me wrong. So we need to always evaluate everything. It's our duty to evaluate everything, every time. But it's also our duty to look ahead, think of the future, and take the opportunities as it comes in our evolution as a human beings. Let's say most of us today, we have a flat screen TV at home. If we were like 200 years ago, someone coming to you, this is a flat screen TV for your comfort. You need less space, you need less energy. Would you say no? Why we are willing to have that, but we are not willing to go further? So that's just a thought to us all to think. We are moving to the chapter 4, explanation of the physical manifestations. We have movements and suspensions, noises, increase and decrease of the weight of objects. Movements and suspensions, noises. Item 72. Having used both reasoning and phenomena to demonstrate the existence of the spirits, along with the possibility of they being able to act upon matter, we must now determine how their actions are produced and how they operate in order to move tables and other inert objects. This is something very interesting because sometimes we accept things as they are, but we are not curious enough to know how they work, how that is possible. What are the mechanisms behind to make it happen? I would encourage everyone, especially the mediums, to understand, to try to understand, to study, to do research, to know how the mediumship mechanism works. Because that will increase the confidence, that will increase the protection of the medium, because they will know how things start, how things end. How can I control something I don't understand? I need to understand, so I'll be able to control better. So I would encourage you, all the mediums, to study, always. One idea that naturally occurred is the one that we held for a while. However, the spirits contested and provide us with a complete different explanation. One we did not anticipate at all. Moreover, it is obvious that the explanation did not originate with us. Our original idea could have quite possibly been held by others as well. As for the spirit's explanation, we do not believe that it could have ever occurred to anyone else. It is certainly easy to see how much more superior it is then our own. Although my computer is playing with me, it's not moving. Oh dear. Let me see. Just a minute. I don't know what is not moving. Let me stop share with you. It's not stopping sharing either. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can, and it stopped sharing.
Yeah, but it's something on the computer. Just bear a second with me.
Close Acrobat and open it again. It comes from Acrobat.
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to close. I'll need to do a different way to close because it's not closing either. I need to force.
It's just running. So give it a little time.
It's something with Acrobat for sure. Okay, now I will force quit. Should go force quit. Okay, so let me open again the file. Sorry for that. But we were talking about technology, right? Okay, so let me go over there again. I'm going, it's working now. Let me go to the place we stopped. Okay, let me share with you guys again. Why is not sharing? Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
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 So let me try again. Okay. As for the spirit explanation, we do not believe that would ever have ever occurred to anyone else. It is certainly easy to see how much more superior it is than our own. Although it is also simpler because it offers a solution to numerous other incidents that had no satisfactory explanation. So basically, they created a theory to explain how things were happening. And the spirits, they came and they invalidate that theory. They brought another principle, another theory that would be easier to accept and to understand the mechanisms.
Guilherme,
Yes?
in the French original, it is written, it is also less simple. And not, it is also simpler.
Ah,
Huh?
interesting. Very interesting. Let me do a stop here. As you know, my home language is different than English. And the books we have in my own language is a translation. From time to time, there were some items that I was not very happy with. There was something like that I was not accepting straight away, right? And I used to go to the originals. With the benefit of internet, we all have access to the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, where we could find for free all the original books from Kardec. And surprisingly, I found things like that also in the translation to my own language. So it's very positive what Charles just did, you know, because it is important to us to always refrain to the original. That's one of the reasons why I'm very skeptical about translations, about using different words because they please us more, because we may change the whole meaning of the sentence. If we use a comma in a different place on the sentence, it may change entirely the sentence, the meaning of the sentence. But then you say, ah, but how can I don't speak French, or I don't speak other language. I know Google Translator is not perfect. I know DeepL is not perfect, but it's a way to start. So thank you, Charles. I really appreciate that.
You can also ask to a French guy.
That's true.
In particular here, Kardec is what he's saying in French. It is certainly easy to see how much more superior it is than our own. Although it is less simple, comma, because it offers a solution to numerous other incidents. So it is the theory of the spirits is superior because it offers a solution to other phenomena, even if it is less simple than the initial idea he had. This is what he writes.
See.
But it does not change fundamentally the sentence. Nevertheless, it's not 100% correct.
That's very true. That's very true. So lesson learned today, guys. Very good.
I opened the French version because in English, this version of English is a little bit sometimes complicated. So then I take the French one in parallel during the study.
I have a hard time sometimes because it seems that we are choosing very complicated words when we could have simple words.
Yes.
To say the thing.
Mm-hmm. And Daniel put also in the discussion the link to Kardecpedia, where it is even easier to find than in Bibliothèque Nationale de France. Bibliothèque Nationale de France, you have everything in the catalog, but not all are digitally available. But in Kardecpedia, you have all the editions digitally available, from the first one to the last one from the time of Kardec.
Very good. Thank you, Daniel. Very, very good. Very good. So you see, guys, we have lots of things to study. Item 73, knowledge of nature of spirit, the human form, the semi-material properties. Let me highlight that here, material. Why I'm highlighting that? Because we all accept is semi-material, but we are not prepared to give material characteristics to the spiritual world. Why is that? We were told that when we die, we have two places to go, hell and heaven. Hell, we don't want to go. Heaven means the paradise, where everything happens by thought, where everything happens by my will. Everything's free, right? I don't need to work. So we need to open up our hearts to the entire sentence, semi-material. Semi-material doesn't mean that it's not material. It's material, but a material different than ours on Earth, on the physical body. So the semi-material properties of the perispirit, the mechanical action they can exert upon matter, and the occurrence of apparitions of fluidic and even tangible hands that could lift objects and carry them, naturally led to our belief that a spirit simply used its hand in order to turn a table, and that it lifted by using its arm. But if that were so, then what was the need of mediums? Couldn't the spirit act by itself? Since mediums often rested their hands up, Charles, there's something that I see quite often that I feel like sounds strange to me. They're referring to the spirit as itself. How it is referred in French? Your mic is closed, Charles. Sorry.
Alone. Could the spirit act alone without a medium?
Okay.
So the translation is correct.
Okay, cool. Since mediums often rest their hands upon the table in a position contrary to its movement, or did not even place their hands upon it at all, they obviously could not aid the spirit with any muscular movement. Let us first see what the spirits whom we asked had to say about the matter. There is something interesting here.
So you see, Guilherme, here again, they put about the matter. It is about the subject in French, huh? Because matter has two meanings. It's matter, material things, and matter subject as well. So just to remove the ambiguity, because I would not have put matter here to avoid this ambiguity.
That's true. That's very
the
true.
itself from the spirits, since the spirits are individualities, it would maybe better to put himself. It's another detail. I'm not specialist in English, but that's what I would have put instead of itself.
I like to refer to what I know about the spirits. They are like we are. I don't refer to a person like it. It's him, her, right? I don't, it's not a thing. It's a being. So yeah, I hear what you're saying.
On top of this, in the French, esprit is written with a capital E. So it is clearly designating the individuality.
That's the way people perceive things, and then they start to adjust here and there. And yeah. But anyway, it's already grateful. We are grateful to have that in different languages, but we have to be careful and curious to evaluate things like that.
And even, you see, I'm sorry to bother you today with translation issues. You see, in the beginning of the 74, were given by the Spirit Saint Louis, and Spirit is with a capital S. In French, it's also with a capital E, but in the previous paragraph, it's with a small s. And in French, it's again with a capital E. So there are some imperfections here, but okay, it's, I don't know, is it the Blackwell one that you have here?
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. Let me check on the end, otherwise I'll get lost here. Hi, Munir.
Hi, Guilherme. Hi, everyone. Now, just to, carry on the subject, people usually say Spirit of St. Louis, Spirit of, is Spirit St. Louis, Spirits so-and-so. It's, it's very common, especially in Portuguese, people say a lot, oh, it's the Spirit of, St. Louis. No, it's not the Spirit of St. Louis. Spirit St. Louis.
That's true as well. Huh? We are so used to speak like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But let me talk about here something that I think is very important as well. Kardec, at his time, with all his knowledge, all his experience, that is way, way superior than ours, still way superior than ours. He is considering to ask the spirits. He is considering to inquire about a subject to the spirits. We have to remember the Spiritism is a doctrine from the spirits, is a knowledge given to us by the spirits. Nowadays, we don't do that very often. It's like after Kardec, we do not have the right to ask the spirits anymore. We don't have the right to interact with the spirits anymore. So if he was doing that, I take that was right. So why should we not do the same, right? The following response were given by the Spirit St. Louis and were later confirmed by others. Look at that. He got an answer from one spirit, but he was not happy with that. He had a need to have the very same answer, perhaps with different words, but the same meaning, but the same answer from more than one spirit. So then he could validate the answer. That shows us how was his mindset, not taking anything as granted. Receive the information from the spirits, do some trials, do some tests to validate or not what has been said. So he was very, very, very clever. Is the universal fluid an emanation of divinity? No. It is a creation of the divinity. Everything has been created except God. Is the universal fluid the universal element itself? Yes. It is the elementary principle of all things. So everything that exists is a modification of the universal fluid. Everything. The table, the matter used to build a computer, the matter that we are made of, the matter that the Perispirit is made of, everything in this world and in the spiritual world. Everything has the same origin. That is what we call universal fluid. Does it have any relation to the electric fluid whose effects we are familiar with? It is its element. It is its element. How is the universal fluid displayed to us in its simplest form? To find it in its absolute simplest form, one would have to ascend towards the poor spirits. In your world, however, it is always modified to varying degrees in order to form the dense matter all around you. Nevertheless, you could say that it is closest to its simplest form in the fluid known as the magnetic animalized fluid. Well, to understand what's the magnetic fluid, we need to break the study and go deeper into that area. That we're not going to do it here. So to give you a better understanding about universal fluid, let's think about water. If we frozen the water, the properties of the water remains the same, but frozen, solid, right? If we heat the water, it becomes gas, but the properties are the same. So this is the universal fluid. You may assume so many different forms, shapes, but it remains the same, right? So over the years, I felt like it's much easier to explain the universal fluid as water. Sorry for that. Item 6. It has been stated that the universal fluid is the source of all life. It is at the same time the source of all intelligence. No. This particular fluid merely animates matter. So the universal fluid can only be changed, modified, to assume different forms of matter. So our spirit comes from a different source. Since it is this fluid that forms the perispirit, it seems that it undergoes a kind of condensation, which to a certain point approaches matter per se. As you say, to a certain point, because it does not possess all the properties of matter per se, and its condensation is greater or lesser according to the nature of the various worlds. If you guys have any questions, any doubt, just open the mic and shoot in, all right? How does a spirit move a solid object? It combines a portion of the universal fluid with the fluid emitted by the mediums in order to move it. So here is the main explanation of the phenomena of turning tables, moving objects, how the spirit interact with matter. Do spirits lift tables using their arms, which have become solidified somehow? The answer to that question will not yet tell you what you want to know. When a table moves underneath our hands, attention, the spirit is answering. When a table moves underneath our hands, our spiritual hands, it is because the spirit who has been evoked has taken enough of the universal fluid to infuse the table with artificial life. Having prepared the table in this way, the spirit attracts it and moves it under the influence of its own fluid, which is emitted by exerting its own will. When the object that it wants to move is too heavy for it, it asks for the help of other spirits who possess similar characteristics. Because it is ethereal nature, the spirits in and of itself cannot act upon dense matter without some kind of intermediary. I'm just highlighting some words, so that is without the link that connects to the matter. This link is what you call the perispirit, and it provides the key to all physical spirits phenomena. All physics spirits phenomena. I believe I have explained the matter clearly enough to have made myself understood. Did he? So let me go into the end and then we come back to talk about it. We would call attention to the sentence. The answer to this question will not yet tell you what I want to know, what you want to know. This spirit understood perfectly well that all the preceding questions had the sole purpose of leading up to the question 9. He was referring to our thought. Herein, we had in fact anticipated a different response, i.e., one that would confirm our own idea about the way spirits move table. So let's read that again. we would call attention to the sentence. The answer to that question will not yet tell you what you want to know. This spirit understood perfectly well that all the preceding questions had the sole purpose of leading to the question 9. He was referring to our thought. Herein, we had in fact anticipated a different response, i.e., one that would confirm our own idea about the way spirits move a table. Let's go back to the top of it, right? The spirit needs an intermediary. We need to make a difference of what is the spirit and what is the spirit body. The spirit has a body. The spirit body is called perispirit. All physical phenomena can only be possible through the perispirit, right? I think that is clear. We also understand from that topic that to be able to move matter, the spirit in possession of its perispirit needs fluid from the mediums. So that's the main mechanism of spirits acting upon matter. The spirit has a will to move the perispirit in conjunction with the medium's fluid. Okay? Is that clear to everyone? This is important.
Guilherme, is there a name for the fluid that is emitted by the medium?
Yes. Let me go up there. I think I highlighted here. Magnetic animalized fluid.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Thank you.
Right. And we all possess this fluid. We all have magnetism, but we have different intensity. Okay. Hi, Ebony.
Hi, my question is, since not all of us are physical mediums, what makes the fluid different between the physical medium as opposed to somebody else? What's so special about the physical medium's fluid that would cause it to be used as opposed to another medium's fluid?
I would not use the word special.
Well, something about it is obviously different, so that's what I mean.
Yes. We need to understand that we all are equal and different at the same time. When we are preparing ourselves to reincarnate, we all have different preparations. We all have different needs. We all have different, how can I say that? Our perispirit is prepared in a different way to interact with the matter. In the same way, when our physical body is formating, it will aggregate different characteristics. So from that process of reincarnation, we all have different goals to attend. Let me put in let's create a picture here. When we are about to incarnate, we are on the queue, trying to reincarnate. We have different doors. One door is to you to be, let's say, a psychographic medium. The door in the middle is to allow you to be psychophonic medium. The door on the right is the one to be physical effects medium. In your condition, you've been told that you would be able to psychograph, psychograph, and you also had to have the ability to be a physical medium. But you were so stubborn that you went on the queue to go in the medium effects 3 times. So instead of acquire the amount of energy that you need, that was only once, you went 3 times. And no one noticed that. And you continue your path to reincarnate. So when you are reincarnating, you have that extra volume of energy, if I can say like that. And the extra volume of energy is what is easier to be used by the spirits than from those that only went 1 time into that door. Does it make any sense for you?
Are you saying that the difference is the quantity of energy as opposed to the quality of energy?
There is no quality involved in it. It's quantity.
Okay, so physical mediums have much more energy than, let's say, psychographic mediums. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It would be the easiest way to understand, yes. And there are mediums that are called healing mediums, mediums of cure, that is on another level, another extra charge. He receives an extra charge of it. So I'll stay like that. I think it's easier to understand like that. You happy with that? Or you want me to elaborate a bit more?
No, I understand your explanation.
Okay, cool. And it has a directly link to what you have to do here. If you do not need that, you will not receive that. If it is written on your to-do list to act as a medium of physical effects, then you will have it. It's not something like I want to and I will have to, or that was something that has happened because no one paid attention and I went to the queue 3 times. It is part of your program. It's part of your reincarnation program. We would call attention to the, I read that already. Okay, sorry. This here is a Kardec's comment, right? I need to learn better to understand what he was meaning when he was saying, he was referring to out-thought. Because I have a different perception. I'm speaking personally. I don't particularly share the opinion that we as a spirit, we do everything by thought. Item number 10. Are the spirits whom we calls upon to help of a less evolved nature? Are they under its orders? They are almost always its equal and come spontaneously. Are all spirits able to produce phenomena of this kind? The spirits who produce them are always of a less evolved nature that is not yet entirely free of material influences. There is one thing here that a lot of people take, or any spirit that do physical effects, they are not very evolved. Really? I really don't know. I really don't know. Because they may have characteristics, stronger characteristics than others. If you are an evolved spirit, a really evolved spirit, you do not have a perispirit anymore. Then you cannot interact with matter because you don't have the intermediate, that is the perispirit. if we want to understand like that, yes, all the evolved spirits that were far away from us, they will not be able to do such a phenomenon. But there is a bunch of spirits. They still have the physical body, the perispiritual body. So they would be able to interact with matter in principle. Okay. Hi, Liz.
Just calling your attention to the time, that's all.
Oh, thank you. 3 minutes. I forgot the time. Thank you. Appreciate that. I like so much that I studied that I really missed the time. So I'll stop here. And I would like to ask Cherry, can you do our final prayer? Yep.
Me, William.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'll try my best. Divine Father, we thank you for the